So when COVID started last year in March of 2020, I thought it'll be one of those things that will end in a month or so and will have minimum impact on our society. China seemed too far and reports seemed too far-fetched. Things started to get serious really fast, and I remember having a discussion with my wife at 10 p.m. thinking, should we send our kids to school tomorrow or not, as we just had first case of COVID in our county. Things changed from bad to worst, and within a week, all school went virtual. I never shared before, but I have two sons, 6-year-old and 4-year-old, and my 4-year-old was only 2.5 at that time. Everything was just too new for him. We switched from remote virtual learning, and all of a sudden I had this newfound respect for teachers, as it was not easy to teach a 5 and a 2.5-year-old. Well, fast forward today, when I'm making this video, I never thought that we'll be in this for such a long time. I just read a report that just made me sad that we have no end in sight for this pandemic, and what will this mean for our lives and our economy? This is a different kind of a video. I'm not going to talk about a ticker or a stock, but what this pandemic means for our lives in our near future. Let's start with something basic. So the longest global flu outbreak lasted 5 years. They mostly consisted of 2 or 4 waves of infection over an average of 2 to 3 years. COVID is already shaping up to be among the more severe pandemic, and we are in the second year and third wave, and no end in sight. With a death toll of over 4.6 million people so far, it's already more than twice as deadly as any outbreak since 1918 Spanish flu. As per Bloomberg, despite brutal initial waves and high vaccination rates, countries including US, UK, Russia, and Israel are flirting with the record number of cases. Immunization is helping to moderate incidences of severe cases and deaths, but surging infections means the virus is reaching the young and others who remain unvaccinated, leading to rising rates of serious disease in those groups. Bloomberg also reports that almost everyone will either be infected or vaccinated before the pandemic ends, and experts agree to that. Maybe both. An unlucky few will contract the virus more than once. The race between the waves of transmission that led to new variants and the battle to get the globe inoculated won't be over until the virus has touched all of us. Let me share a few stats that will make it very clear for all of us that we are in this for a very long time. So the Bloomberg article especially talks about pandemic in the next 6 months, and one of the heartbreaking things I read is this. I see these continued surges occurring throughout the world. With billions of people around the world yet to be vaccinated and little chance now of eliminating the virus, we can expect more outbreaks in the classrooms, public transport, and in workplaces over the coming months as economies push ahead with reopenings. Now in this pic, take a look at the 3 surges we already had right here. The first surge was in January of 2021. Right after the Christmas and New Year's, we had a huge surge in January of 2021. Then after April, we had this surge when everybody started to go out, weather opened, and people wanted to go out and basically have fun in the summer. We saw this surge. Then now, right after the school opened, we saw this third surge. What is sad is that we all were looking forward to summer and also the start of the school year, but look at the number of cases after the school reopened. It's just sad to see that all of a sudden when the school reopened, we had that spike. So the first surge happened right after the holiday season when everybody met, and after that we saw this surge. Then when the summer started, we saw this surge. When people started to go out, economy started to reopen, we saw this surge, and now we saw this huge surge when schools started to open. It's just sad to see this chart. One of the biggest questions everyone has is that when will COVID end? And this is what Bloomberg has to say. So in the article over here, of course, it's very hard to read what they are saying here, but this is true. What seems clear is that pandemic will not be over in 6 months. Experts generally agree that the current outbreak will be tamed once most people, perhaps 90 to 95% of the global population, have a degree of immunity thanks to immunization or previous infection. Now, this is really hard. Along with that, they say more than 5.66 billion doses of vaccine have been administered around the world, according to Bloomberg's vaccine tracker. But the success of rollout in some regions, such as European Union, North America, China, masked the failure in others. So this basically tells us one thing, that we are on top in today's world, a global citizen. Doesn't matter what country we belong to, doesn't matter which state we belong to, we are a global citizen on top of everything else. Now, while we are still fighting with COVID and making sense of Delta, there seems to be a new variant which is creating a buzz. It's called the Mu variant right here. Now, Anthony Fauci says Mu COVID variant is an immediate threat to US, but look at the chart over here. The chart is telling us something else right here. So even though it's not an immediate threat, but I feel it's threat enough for us to start paying attention to this. Now, when my 4-year-old sit in a car with a mask on, and when I ask him that he doesn't need mask in the car, but to him it's natural, it's just sad. No one knows when this all will end, and same way, we don't know how our economy will react and how stock market will react. Our Fed is already confused over stimulus, infrastructure bill, jobs, interest rate. How can we as human beings or normal people like you and me make sense of these moving parts? I personally feel that this will be a way of life for a very long time and truly will be a fight of the fittest. It's just sad, but it's true. So I will end this video by saying this. Eat well, exercise, and take care of our loved ones. We are all in this together. Thank you for joining me. Hope you liked today's video. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.